let's talk a little bit about Sandy Brondello being fired from the New York Liberty.
So it looked like New York Liberty coach Sandy Brondello has been fired. Guys, for this one here, we have to go all the way up to New York. Let's get it, let's go.
The WNBA just dropped a bombshell, and the shockwaves are still ripping through the league. Sandy Brondello, the winningest coach in New York Liberty history, the very same coach who delivered their first championship, is out, fired, just days after her team got bounced from the first round of the playoffs.
I think one of the problems you see with a lot of certain franchises across sports is they don't take big swings and they don't seize opportunities. The Jets, the Browns, a lot of different, we've seen it a lot in the NFL.
Now, if this feels cutthroat, you're right. But here's the twist. Some fans aren't buying the basketball-only excuse. They're asking a bigger, uglier question. Was Sandy Brondello fired for reasons that had nothing to do with her record? Think about it. She wasn't just successful, she was respected. Breanna Stewart, one of the brightest stars in the league, defended her in front of reporters. Becky Hammon, yes, the coach chasing dynasty status in Las Vegas, called the firing flat-out cruel. And yet, the Liberty pulled the trigger.
The New York Liberty have let go Sandy Brondello. Well, in their terms, they will not renew her contract. In our eyes, they parted ways. She was fired, essentially. But not as bad as being fired, I guess. But that's just how we talk out here. Nonetheless, I'm shocked. She's been a coach there for 4 seasons. You look at the past 3 seasons, she made it to the finals in her 2nd season.
So let's ask the question that has sports media in panic mode. Was this decision really about losing one playoff series? Or was Sandy Brondello targeted because she doesn't fit the preferred image of the modern WNBA? A straight, white, married woman in a league that constantly frames itself around identity and agenda. This isn't just about one coach. This is about whether the WNBA cares more about basketball or boxes checked.
Dallas Cowboys could have fired Mike McCarthy last year, before last season, and hired a real coach like Jim Harbaugh. Did they do it? Nope. Of course not. Could have hired John Gruden in this offseason. Did they do it? No. And so the Fever are presented with the opportunity, they won't do it.
And tonight, we're diving in. Buckle up. But before we break it all down, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the raw truth on stories the mainstream media won't touch. To understand why Sandy Brondello's firing feels so explosive, you have to rewind the tape. This isn't just any coach we're talking about. Brondello isn't some rookie trying to figure out rotations. She's a proven winner. She took Phoenix to a championship as head coach. She turned New York Liberty from a team desperate for relevance into a legitimate contender. And in just 4 seasons, she became the winningest coach in franchise history, the only one to ever deliver them a WNBA title.
She won the finals in her 3rd season, and they lost in round 1 this year. Outside looking in, you look at this franchise and you see that's a successful franchise. New York is a powerhouse in the W right now. So what is the issue? What is the front office looking at? What are the ownership groups looking at? You look back to 2023, they faced the Aces in the final. The Aces won 3-1, drove straight through New York. The complaints after this championship was the matchups. Courtney Vandersloot on Kelsey Plum, Sabrina Yannick.
That's not just resume material, that's legacy building. And yet, 4 days after a first-round playoff exit, she was gone. No grace period. No, let's see what happens next year. Just thank you for your service, pack your bags. Now sure, the Liberty had injuries. Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart battled through issues.
There's too much agenda in this league. All right, there's too much agenda. When you've got members of the WNBA media writing these kinds of articles, WNBA has no black woman head coaches after Seattle fires Noelle Quinn. My question would be, who the hell cares? But it did get me thinking. I was like, I first did the whole, well, how many white women coaches are there?
Suddenly, the conversation wasn't about wins, losses, or playoff performances. It was about identity. So now the question becomes, was Sandy Brondello really fired for underperforming? Or was this a league desperate to check boxes, push narratives, and prove it's different from the NBA, even at the expense of one of its most respected leaders? Because if basketball isn't the top priority, then what is?
All the while, just a couple of days earlier, Annie Costabile wrote this article and put it out. Now, I don't believe they're related necessarily, but it does show you that this league and people around the league are ate up with agenda. There are two black coaches in the league, Tyler Marsh and Sidney Johnson. Both are men.
So let's break this down step by step. The Liberty lose in the first round of the playoffs. Disappointing? Absolutely. But let's not sugarcoat the truth. This wasn't a meltdown on Sandy Brondello's part. Breanna Stewart was playing through a sprained MCL. Jonquel Jones battled through nagging injuries. Their depth pieces didn't deliver when it mattered most. Sandy didn't forget how to coach overnight. Her roster simply ran out of gas. Yet within days, not weeks, not after careful evaluation, the front office announces she's done. No contract renewal. Out the door. And if you're telling me that decision was made only after the final buzzer, please, that was in the works long before Game 3 even tipped off. Think back to that press conference just before the firing. A reporter asked Breanna Stewart if Sandy's job was in danger, and Stewart looked shocked. She laughed it off, defended her coach, and basically said, "Are you crazy? Of course she's safe." But here's the kicker. That question didn't come out of thin air. Somebody in the media already knew where this was heading. That wasn't speculation. That was a leak. So what does that tell us? It tells us this wasn't just about one playoff series. This was an agenda-driven decision, already prepped and packaged, waiting for the moment the Liberty stumbled. And stumble they did, giving ownership the excuse to do what they'd planned all along. Because in the cutthroat world of WNBA optics, it's not just about wins and losses, it's about appearances. And Sandy Brondello didn't fit the appearance they wanted.
My question is, why should anybody give a shit about any of it? Why is this a priority or an issue? By the way, Sandy was not only straight, she was married. This is her husband, Olaf Lang. I hope I'm saying that right. He was an assistant basketball coach with the New York Liberty.
Here's where the whole thing goes from suspicious to downright absurd. On one hand, the WNBA keeps telling us it's about growth, competitiveness, and raising the standard. That's the official line. But how do you square that with reality? Sandy Brondello wasn't just competitive, she won. She literally gave the Liberty their first championship banner. This is the contradiction the WNBA can't hide. They say it's about basketball, but their moves scream agenda. They celebrate inclusion and equity. Yet where's the respect for a coach who delivered? They shout about representation, but what about merit? What about the basic truth that winning should protect you, not paint a target on your back? Meanwhile, look around the league. Coaches like Becky, Hammon, Cheryl Reeve, legends in their own right, openly questioned this firing. Players like Stewart and Natasha Cloud were outraged. If your stars and your coaching peers don't understand the move, maybe it's not a business decision. Maybe it's a box-checking exercise wrapped in PR spin. So let's call it what it looks like. A league more obsessed with image than integrity. A league willing to discard one of its best to satisfy a narrative. And once you cross that line, no coach is truly safe. Not even the ones who win. Strip away the noise and let's look at the facts. Sandy Brondello isn't just another name on a clipboard. She's one of the most accomplished coaches this league has ever seen. She has more than 2 decades of coaching experience, from international basketball to the WNBA. She took the Phoenix Mercury to a championship in 2014.
I'm just telling you, because let's be real. What was the agenda with the New York Liberty? Question mark. I mean, you just had one of their star players, Breanna Stewart, go to bat for Sandy right in front of God and everybody during a press conference like 2 days ago. Thought it was a joke that they even got asked about Sandy's job. That tells you, in my opinion, that media member knew she was getting fired. She already knew it, in my opinion anyway. That's just me speculating out loud. But where the hell did the question come from?
She rebuilt New York into a powerhouse, leading them to consistent playoff runs. And oh yeah, she delivered their first ever WNBA championship just last year. Let me repeat that. The first coach in franchise history to hoist a title. And she did it in only 4 seasons. On the tactical side, Brondello is known for structured offenses and adaptable game plans. She empowered shooters like Sabrina Ionescu to stretch defenses while building schemes around Breanna Stewart's versatility. Her rotations weren't flashy, but they were disciplined discipline. Even this past season, when injuries piled up and chemistry faltered, she kept New York in the hunt. That's not incompetence, that's survival. And then there's the personal side. Her players respected her. Stewart went to bat for her publicly. Natasha Cloud cursed out anyone questioning her value. Becky Hammon praised her character and her ability to win. You don't get that kind of loyalty unless you've earned it. So what basketball reason justifies this firing? Did she suddenly forget how to draw up plays? Did she lose the locker room? Number.
Because most sane people would have been like, and you saw the reaction. Same thing we all thought when we saw the video. Are you out of your damn mind? This coach is great. This coach is arguably the best coach in the league. Becky Hammon's already come out and made a comment like, what's going on? And guess what? There's people talking about her losing her job. With all the success she's had, there's people talking about her losing her job.
Aaliyah Boston's words go far beyond the hardwood. They reflect the growing movement within women's basketball to demand respect, recognition, and resources equal to the game's talent level. The WNBA is no longer a quiet league flying under the radar. It's a cultural force, powered by players who are unafraid to speak their truth. This isn't just about Boston and Clark. It's about the generational shift happening in sports. Young women stepping into the spotlight and refusing to be silenced. They're rewriting the narrative, showing the world that women's basketball deserves the same intensity, media attention, and global respect as any other professional sport. And let's be clear, fans are taking notice. Social media engagement, packed arenas, viral highlight reels, all of it signals a new era where the WNBA is impossible to ignore. Aaliyah Boston, alongside Caitlin Clark, isn't just competing for wins. She's competing for the future of the game itself. So here's the raw truth. Sandy Brondello's firing isn't just a headline. It's a wake-up call for the WNBA, for coaches, for players, and for fans who thought merit still mattered. One of the best coaches in league history, gone, and for reasons that may have nothing to do with basketball. That's a story that cannot be ignored. This isn't about race or gender. It's about agenda versus achievement. Brondello won. She built trust. She brought a franchise from mediocrity to championship glory. And still, she was shown the door. If this isn't a warning sign that the league is more concerned with optics than excellence, I don't know what is. For the players, it's a signal too. The loyalty and respect they give can be undermined in a single decision. For aspiring coaches, it's a reminder that even success doesn't guarantee security if you don't fit the preferred narrative. And for fans, it's a chance to demand better, to question the storylines, the spin, and to see through the headlines to the truth. At the end of the day, basketball should be the measuring stick. Wins, leadership, player development, and respect earned on and off the court. That's what should matter. Anything less is a betrayal of the sport and its fans. So keep your eyes open. Watch what the Liberty do next. Watch the WNBA media, the agendas, and the reactions. And remember, truth is often stranger than spin. If you want more unfiltered takes on women's basketball, the hidden dynamics behind the headlines, and the stories nobody else will tell, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss the raw, no-holds-barred truth from black and white sports. The game is bigger than the headlines. The story is far from over. And trust me, you'll want to see every move that comes next.